Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Bucks Latest presented by FanArch. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning on the post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. All right, now that we have that out of the way, we have an emergency episode because Myles Turner of the Indiana Pacers is headed to the Bucks on a 4-year, $107 million deal. I truly can't believe this. Of course, in the immediate aftermath of the Brook Lopez departure, getting Myles Turner, one of the most coveted free agents on the market from the Indiana Pacers after he helped the Pacers get to the NBA Finals, take the 68-win Oklahoma City Thunder to 7 games. He is now a Milwaukee Buck to pair in the front court with Giannis Antetokounmpo, creating one of the deadliest defensive front courts in the NBA. And Myles Turner has been one of my favorite players to watch in the league for the past 5-6 years, full stop. I think he's maybe the most underrated player in the game, and now he pairs with Giannis in the front court. He's the complete package. Can shoot the lights out, can block shots, run in transition, super athletic and agile. He's just really everything that you could possibly want in a center addition for Giannis, for the Bucks. It's really incredible. It's always amazing to me how things work behind the scenes with GMs and certain front offices talking to certain guys, and it's complete radio silence. There was no indication at all that a deal of this nature was going to go down, that Myles Turner was even seriously thinking about leaving the Pacers. Everybody just assumed that he would return, and I really can't believe it. I'm lost for words. When I saw the notification, I didn't know what to think, but I just couldn't help but think that, man, the Bucks have had a pretty great offseason so far. Of course, Brook Lopez goes, but now you get the younger, better version of him in this current moment in Myles Turner on a pretty team-friendly deal, and I really can't believe this. Again, for a guy of Myles Turner's caliber, the price makes sense. But in another shocking turn of events, the Bucks decided to waive and stretch Damien Lillard's remaining $113 million contract to sign Myles Turner, to have enough cap space to bring him on. And of course that creates some problems for the long-term future down the road, with Damien Lillard being owed $22.5 million a year for the next 5 years. Just $22.5 million in dead cap that you can't do anything with. The Dame deal ended up being a tragic one, but now the Bucks are trying to right the ship and do right by Giannis by bringing in a guy like Myles Turner. Wow. Dame's tenure with the Bucks ends in a pretty cruel way. I feel as though, he kind of got a fair shot in his first year, but, injuries come playoff time really hindered the team, hindered him, and took him out of action for the Bucks' first-round playoff exit against the Pacers a couple years ago. But this is just absolutely unbelievable. I wish Damien Lillard the best of luck with whatever team he goes to, not for this next season, of course, but for 2026-27, as he's still rehabbing the Achilles injury. It is really unfortunate to see how the Lillard deal ended, especially when you look back how you trade a guy like Jrue Holiday, who is one of the players in the NBA that has been the most conducive to winning over the past half decade. Specifically, you get rid of a guy who is arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA, who has been for, I want to say, the last decade, and you sub defense for offense, but of course this deal just does not pan out the way that you would want. Dame goes, but the Bucks are uber aggressive right now in terms of getting help for Giannis in the immediate future. And what that can look like is Giannis could see these updates, see these things happening around the organization, and choose to stay for good, because there's just no other way to put it other than the Bucks are doing everything they can right now to ensure that Giannis can compete, even with Damian Lillard now gone. It's really crazy how in the span of the last 15-20 minutes you've had to think about all these different scenarios with Damian Lillard and him not being on the team. This was never the assumption. Of course, Damien Lillard was going to miss all of or most of next season, but to not have him for 2026-27 and beyond was just completely out of left field So now the Bucks will have to adjust to that. Of course, they bring back Kevin Porter Jr. to shore up a lot of those point guard responsibilities, but they'll likely be looking to add somebody else, maybe reunite with a Malcolm Brogdon or bring in a Chris Paul if they're really trying to help Giannis compete right now in the present moment. Of course, Ryan Rollins is still a restricted free agent. They can choose to bring him back and kind of give him those responsibilities as well. But again, if they're really looking to compete in this moment, there aren't a ton of great options. I don't think it's official yet that Dennis Schroeder is going to be going to the Sacramento Kings, but there's guys like Brogdon, guys like Schroeder. D'Angelo Russell went to the Mavericks on a 2-year deal. So the market for point guards is getting pretty thin, and it's kind of up in the air as to where they go from here. Maybe they make another trade for a point guard. Guys like Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White have been on the market for the Chicago Bulls. Ayo Dosunmu would be a pretty great pickup in my estimation. He's also been one of my favorite players to watch. I just love his mix of agility but control. His explosive athleticism but poise. He's an older guy in a young guy's body, and he would be a great trade target. But nonetheless, Giannis, reports had come out surrounding Giannis that he was going to be watching very intently what the Bucks were going to be doing heading into free agency, when the draft was going on, that Giannis was going to keep a close watch on the Bucks front office to see if they're really serious about building a contender around him. And now they see there is a full commitment to winning in Milwaukee, and it really doesn't seem like Giannis has anything to worry about in the current moment. So if you want to take a look at the grand scheme of things, Brook Lopez, of course, shockingly goes to the Clippers instead of the Lakers on a 2-year, $18 million deal. Really stung in the moment, but, a guy of his caliber, even at his age, is going to see a lot of interest from teams that are needing that shot blocking, that floor spacing, which is why the Lakers were the top suitor, were imagined to be for most of the beginning of the offseason and as the playoffs and regular season wound down. But it goes to the Clippers. You replace him with Myles Turner, but that also costs Damien Lillard, who was going to miss the next season anyway. So many things happening right now, and it's hard to keep track of how, just to imagine how the Bucks are going to be entering this next season, what kind of mindset they're going to have. But one thing is for sure, Giannis and Myles Turner is going to be a deadly duo in the front court, not just defensively, but on both ends with Turner's floor spacing. Giannis just has so many different angles now to drive and kick, and it's just going to open up so many possibilities. So Myles Turner is a Milwaukee Buck. I can't believe I'm saying these words, but it happened. I can't believe it. But thank you very much for watching this episode of Bucks Latest presented by Fan Arch. I've been Dean Simon. Again, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on the post notifications so you don't miss any updates like this, like Myles Turner coming to Milwaukee, in the expense of Damian Lillard and Brook Lopez. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you very much for watching, and go Bucks.